A little girl yelled, "Don't get in that car." I looked up and saw my daughter Maya being tugged toward a black sedan by our nanny Kendra. The driver lifted his chin, just enough for the lobby lights to catch the scar on his jaw, and my stomach dropped, because I knew that face from the night my wife died. I didn't weigh it or workshop it. I just moved, shouting, "Stop!" Like the word might turn steel to air. Security stirred too slow, Kendra pushed faster, and the driver's hand hovered like a hook. Zoe, the janitor's kid who's always sketching in the corner after school, planted her little sneakers and said it again, voice shaking. "But steady, don't get in. He's not your driver," and yeah, that happened. A child saw what a building full of adults ignored. I hit the hood. The engine snarled. Kendra shoved the back door clicked, and Maya's small shoes squeaked on polished stone. Then Zoe cut through the panic like a bell-child lock. He turned the child lock on, and something snapped me fully awake. I went for the front passenger door. A guard's baton shot a spiderweb through the glass. My hand found the toggle. The lock jumped. The back door flew, and I yanked my kid into my arms like surfacing from cold water. The sedan tried to buck free, clipped a bollard sparks, spit across the curb. Security dragged the driver out. Real name Rook, a ghost from a rainy file folder that never closed. And I stood there with Maya shaking against my chest, Kendra snarling like she'd been inconvenienced, and Zoe with a scraped palm and a stare that said, "I'd rather be grounded forever than be quiet right now, you know what I mean." Detective Sloan took us upstairs, the fluorescent kind of room, where truth gets measured in inches. Kendra sat, cuffed, chin tilted like she'd practiced sympathy in a mirror. Zoe hugged a spiral notebook to her hoodie and said she saw Kendra text before the sedan pulled up, like she was waiting for the wrong car on purpose. Sloan fished the phone, shrugged at the lock screen, nodded to a tech. I asked Kendra the question that kept burning holes in my tongue. "You sang my kid to sleep, who paid you to sell her?" And she wouldn't look at me, just breathed out this cold little sentence, "You think you know your enemies. Mr. Mercer, you don't." The alarms did the rest. Somewhere down the hall, metal hit wall, radios barked, a side door blew open, and Rook stormed in with a blade, grabbed Kendra like a shield, and smiled the way men smile when they don't believe consequences are real. "You were supposed to finish it," he hissed. And when I stepped into the doorway, he said the part that chilled me more than steel at anyone's throat. "This isn't about the kid, Cole. She's leveraged. The war is inside your company." SWAT boots hammered the stairwell. Sloane's radio crackled. Rook flinched. I slammed Kendra sideways so the blade took shoulder, not neck. Sloane fired. Rook tumbled, then ran, and I followed because logic doesn't always win when fear is steering. We hit a maintenance level. No one visits unless something is broken. The air tasted like dust and hot pipes. Rook fought like a man who's danced with death enough to know the steps. I fought like a father who finally ran out of polite. His knife slit my coat. My fist found ribs. A forgotten wrench became a promise. He grinned through blood and spit a sentence. "I still hear when the house goes quiet. Even if you drop me, your board already signed the papers that ruin you." Then he slipped the net, leaving a smear trail to the dark. Morning brought glass tables, city views, and a board that liked me fine. When the weather was calm, I laid out what Sloane and I found under our feet. Aegis crates with our logo that belonged in a military facility, not a building basement. I said Galen Price's name across the polished room, and he smiled like a choir director. "Clerical error, Cole inventory." "Blip, you're rattled. You're seeing zebras," and the chair cleared his throat and asked for patience, like patience was a life jacket. You know how that goes. Two marshals I didn't know showed up late, took Rook with a paper-stamped national security. The door shut behind them, and it felt like the truth had been wheeled down a hallway I didn't control. So we went, where money tells on itself, my foundation, gala chandeliers and tuxedos, and the orchestra covering the sound of people lying. Senator Elias Ward took the mic with that baritone that makes cameras lean in, spoke about innovation and shared prosperity. Words that matched the slogan. Rook sneered in the stairwell. Yeah, that happened too later. Upstairs, in a private room that smelled like brandy and leather. We found a thin folder left like a dare. Aegis manifests shell companies routing through bases and ports, and Ward's signature tucked in as a proxy for an anonymous consortium. Sloan slid it inside his jacket. A key turned at the door. We hid behind the drapes like teenagers. Price's aide came in with a man in a military overcoat and told him to make the room spotless by morning because Mercer's sniffing, we slipped out first proof in hand, hope in our teeth. Then the smear machine lit up like a county fair. Headlines said, "I forged, skimmed, lied, ran the board, called another session, offered concern with one hand and a gentle push toward the exit with the other. Proof Cole, we need proof," and I heard what they meant. We need cover. Rook's trail pointed us to Pier 47 at midnight. A crate stenciled medical relief with a 2 red stamp. We cracked it and found sleek black drones with mounts. You don't talk about at dinner, ammo stamped in alphabets. Customs officers pretend they can't read. Floodlights, snapped rifles fanned Price's hammerman. Hale smiled like a paycheck. We tried a bulb, tried a sprint, ended up in water that felt like knives crawled out, shaking and alive with a flash drive. In a waterproof pouch and not much else back at an old farmhouse. Sloane's friend keeps for bad days. Maya fell asleep on a couch under a fleece blanket. Zoe drew smiley faces on a scrap of paper, like she could will one into the room then. Ward called with the kind of threat people dress in silk, played a recording of Maya crying from a school drop-off weeks ago, said, "I have access, stop digging." And I said I'd use the shovel for both of us, not because it was clever, because I didn't have anything left to give up. We found a reporter who still believes ink can cut through spin, Helen Drake eyes like razor wire, smelled like coffee and double deadlines. She took the drive, took my statement on the record. Ran it loud, the truth jumped, and the counter-truth landed on its back. Their version came with paid experts and bad faith and bots. Deputy Director Rivera from the Bureau tried to hold ground, but even he had leaks in his circle. Sloan set a honeycomb trap, 3 tiny rumors each with a unique tell, and when the network claimed I was fleeing on a private jet with my initials photoshopped near the tail, we knew the mole Rivera took care of it. Didn't feel like victory, felt like plugging one hole while water came through the walls. Night fell heavy at the farmhouse headlights, idled at the far edge of the corn, like wolves deciding whether to creep or pounce. I looked at my daughter sleeping, listened to the house breathe. Told Sloan they wanted me, not them, so we end it here, he said. Or they end you, I said. Then we make it cost them something. Martha took the girls to the cellar. Zoe clutched her notebook like a charm. The porch light carved a stage out of the dark, and Ward stepped in with that television smile, Price beside him. Hale behind, give us the drive, Cole. Walk away, let this be a chapter, not an epitaph. And I told him he ordered a ghost to kill my wife and tried to steal my kid. I won't walk anywhere with you. Hale lifted a hand. Rifles rose, take the detective alive, CEO is a headline, the cop is a problem. I didn't wait for the overture. Sometimes. You start the song, the first punch landed like years of swallowed rage finally found a door. Sloane's old pump barked and made Price freeze with his mask. Half slipped, shots slashed wood. The farmhouse groaned. Ward and I hit gravel and traded something older than politics. You can't arrest me, he spat, when the sirens rolled and red and blue painted the corn. Fools, he said it twice, like saying it made it true. Rivera's units took him anyway. Hale measured the math and put his rifle down. Price tried to bargain with air. They went into cars like men who forgot what handcuffs feel like. I didn't gloat. I sat on the step with ribs that would purple by dinner and watched Maya and Zoe chase sunlight across a field like none of this ever touched them. People want clean endings. They want triumph to taste like sugar. The truth is messier. Ward will try to yank favors that shouldn't exist. Price will claim his pen ran out of ink the day those papers were signed. People will say I deserved whatever I got because rich men always do and poor men always don't. As if the world is that simple somewhere. A kid like Zoe will see what adults refuse to see and shout anyway. And a father like me will decide if he wants to keep being the version of himself the mirror lies to, or become the one his daughter believes in. If you want a moral take, Zoe's line, "Don't get in that car," sometimes. That's the thread between your life and the story other people are writing for you. Sometimes you're the person who has to yell it. Sometimes you're the one who has to hear it and move. Tell me where you land on this, where self-defense ends and vengeance starts. Whether systems protect themselves or the people paying for them. Drop a comment. If you've been underestimated and turned that into a bad bet for someone, if you've seen power dress up as safety and felt your gut twist, like the video, subscribe. If you think courage counts even when the odds don't, and yeah, tell me where you're watching from. I'm not done talking.